The top 10 list.
The
Let's
top
get
10 list of 2025.
Of 2020.
MTG Basics. Keep it basic.
How's it going, everybody? I'm Raul, and I'm joined by the myth, the man, the legend, Jonah.
How's it going, everybody?
Doing great, Jonah. Welcome to another episode of Nameless CEDH Podcast. Jonah is covering for Joseph, who's feeling a little bit under the weather. Excited to have you, Jonah.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad to fill his shoes. Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. So today we're covering a couple topics. We're starting with our giveaway from the Scrubland that was never claimed. Then we're going to talk about upcoming tournaments, and then we're going to do our top 10 list because people love their top 10 list.
Yep. Let's get into it. Let's re-roll the Scrubland.
Let's do it. So as folks know, we reached our 7,000 subscriber goal a month or so ago, and we were giving away a plateau and a scrubland. The plateau was claimed, the scrubland was never claimed. So with that, we're going to go ahead and re-roll the scrubland as we do, and hopefully somebody claims it.
Yeah, and just to clarify, we will always announce our winners in videos for giveaways. So if you ever know that there's a giveaway going on and you want to know who won, we reward the people that watch the content. So we will always announce in the next video who the winners are. So
yeah, that's a good one. We are also doing another giveaway. I'll do that one with Joseph regarding the secret layer stuff. Everything got mixed up. I got yelled at multiple times. We'll get better at doing giveaways. But right now we're talking about the scrubland only, and then we worry about everything else at another time.
Yep, perfect.
So
sounds good.
Jonah's gonna hit okay, and then we're gonna pick a number, and then I got everything ready
Drum
to go.
roll, please.
If somebody says 67, I will scream.
It'll probably be 6, 7. It usually is.
That is a decease that needs to be stopped and nipped.
This is the longest I think it's ever taken.
It is the longest we've ever taken. I'm pretty sure the chat's open. 24.
24. All right. 24.
24. Let's see. 24. Mr. Janto. Janto? Yeah, congratulations on winning the scrubland. Make sure you reach out to us via Discord or a similar, and we will give it to you. We'll give you it a week and a half or so to claim it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'll try again and re-roll.
Yeah, we'll just keep it rolling. So yeah, you have about a week and a half after this releases to claim your scrubland.
Sick. Keeping us moving, as we talked about in the past, myself, Joseph, and Evan Freedom Waffle we'll be going to Friends to the Falls here this weekend. We're really excited to do some casting. Joseph's going to be doing their casting debut, and I'll be kind of in the back helping produce everything, and he's going to be joined by Hire.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I unfortunately can't go. I'm so disappointed.
Having a family.
I know. I'm so disappointed. I have family commitments for Thanksgiving, but yeah, this is going to be awesome. Tune in, or this is going to be released before or after this comes out.
This will be released tomorrow.
Oh, perfect. Well, watch. And then yeah, it's going to be great having Hire on the channel. He's so entertaining, very knowledgeable about the format and like the amount of cards that he understands and like little combos. I play with him often online, and it's always interesting to see like what people are playing, and he knows immediately what's going on. So yeah, he'll be a great caster with Pigeon. So yeah, and then you'll be able to see the Freedom Waffle picks.
The Freedom Waffle picks, the best picks, NA.
Yeah. And then always remember to say hi to the producer in chat. He reads everything even though he's not talking. So
I do read everything, and I cry myself. And if you told me to turn that table audio on,
yeah,
I will kindly tell you to.
Yeah. People do need to understand that the table audio is not always entertaining. We did that at the Invitational where it's like people wanted table audio, and then we turned it on, and it was like somebody talking about what they were going to do this weekend because somebody was fetching for a tropical island. And it was like, okay, this is not the time to have game audio on. So yeah, just know that we're always listening to the game audio to make sure that you're not missing anything that's happening in the game.
Yeah. So look forward to the stream will be hosted by MTG Basics both Saturday and Sunday, and it will be really exciting. So, but with that, we're here to talk about best draw engines in CEDH, a top 10 list.
The top 10 list.
The top 10 list of 2025.
Of 2020. Yeah, going into 2026, what are you playing? What are you not playing? What should you be playing?
Yeah. We started with some cards that are not as good. They were good maybe for a week and a half, and then they were like...
It was like it's like the Hashathon thing where it was like everyone was so hyped whenever it came out, and you were like, I have to get a copy of this. And then once it started playing, you're like, oh, this is not good.
It's actually, we might make another podcast about like commanders people were playing and stopped playing because Loot was also a food chain commander, if you remember that.
a whole binder full of them. So don't worry, we can make a long podcast on them because I fall into that category of, oh my God, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And then after like 3 games, you're like, oh, this isn't do what the thing I thought it did.
I'm going back to blue form.
Yeah, exactly. Straight back to Kennen.
So one of the first cards that I thought was good when it first got announced, and then it became kind of like very clear to me that was not as good, was, oh, that is not it. That is Polywog Prodigy.
Yeah.
This card was talked a lot about as a really good card.
Yeah, everybody thought that this card was going to be really good. From my perspective, when it came out, it had a lot of synergy with Kennen. So it was a frog, and you could untap it with
Easy to evolve as well. With
exactly easy to evolve. There's a lot of creatures that come into the battlefield. The synergy with Valley Floodcaller and Enduring Vitality, it just seemed like it was really good. Whenever this resolves, it doesn't feel that way though.
It does
yeah,
nothing.
It does nothing. Yeah, you just
Draws you a couple cards, maybe at most.
if you're lucky, somebody's holding on to their 0-drop rocks or they're drawing them later, but doesn't ever feel like it's doing.
As a 1/3, it does nothing. As a 2/4, it starts to do a couple more things. It's very difficult to make it a 3/5.
And I think the important part about this card is that it has to be less than Polywog's power. So when it first comes out, before it's evolved at all, it has to be 0 drops that are hitting this
Yep.
to make you draw cards. And that's just not always the case.
Nope. So cars not as good. Next one is Traveling Pairs. And can you read it for the class, Jonah? We forgot to do that for Polywog Prodigy, but Traveling Pairs, can you read it for us?
If an opponent would begin an extra turn, that player skips that turn instead. Whenever an opponent attacks with 2 or more creatures, draws their second card each turn, or casts their second spell each turn, you draw a card. And I feel like the popcorn in class when the teacher would call on you. Get the same sweats.
Oh God.
Oh God, I got called on.
So this card is really good when there's like a lot of, there's a lot of Tymna decks, maybe, right? When they're going out to a lot of combat. If you are drawing a lot of cards, a lot of folks have a lot of engine, but it's limited. It's capped, and it's also 4 mana. I think that's what makes it
the 4
bad.
mana and the 2 white pips especially is just backbreaking.
Yeah.
As Tivit becomes more popular,
David used to run this card a lot, but David has fallen out of the meta. Currently, it's making a slight resurgence. We'll see if it's a real one.
yeah, if it comes back, and this might see play again in like blue form and stuff to stop Tivit extra turns and whatnot, but it's not a dependable draw engine for 4 mana.
Yeah.
You just can't guarantee that you're drawing a card every turn.
You can do better. I think it's
100%.
the takeaway message. So those are the cards that if these cards are in your CDH deck, you better have a really good reason why they're in your deck.
Yep.
Because there's at least 10 other cards that are better.
Yeah, and 3 honorable mentions.
3 honorable mentions.
So, yeah, we need some justification on why you're still playing these cards in 2025.
Which we'll start with the first honorable mention, which I think I already spoiled beforehand. And it's the Unagi of Kyoshi Islan, which is a 3 colorless, 2 blue pip, legendary creature serpent with flash, ward, waterbend 4. I think Joseph and I spoke about this card during our Avatar pre-release set, but essentially says whenever an opponent draws their second card each turn, you draw 2 cards. So how does this work?
So I have not played this card yet. I know Joseph is on this card, Evan is on this card, Jason Doan is on this card. I, however, have not picked it up yet. I'm still on the Seedborn Muse and Kennen, where this card kind of fits, and I think the One Ring is better, because if I get Seedborn One Ring,
Win the game.
way more cards than this. However, it is really good against blue farm decks, cards where people are going to be drawing 2 cards for sure off Tymna. Usually if there's a Ristic out, you can, guarantee someone's going to draw 2 cards. The only reason I don't love it is because you're also just dependent on people drawing 2 cards. And so if there's a May trigger like a Ristic or a Fish or something like that, where somebody might not be wanting to draw to give you 2 extra cards, it's not guaranteed. So that's the only reason I haven't officially committed to this card, but I am actively putting it in my list to try it at the next locals. So yeah, I think the water bend 4 is also good.
Yeah, it's like ward. It's like ward essentially, which is it gives another protection versus like a Consecrated Sphinx. Right?
Exactly.
Yep. I think the only reason I think this card is in the potentially notable cards or honorable mentions is because it's just too new and too niche for Kennen, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I think this card is probably better than some of the cards in our list when we're comparing them card to card. But it's just the fact that it's only been out for like a couple weeks and it's really new. it's just really hard to say how it's going to play out.
Agreed. The decks that I think can use this card immediately. I mean, obviously Kennen's a great choice. That's where everyone else is running it so far, and I'm about to test it. But Glarb, I think, could really use this card because you can just flash it off the top. You already have a ton of mana, and it's a great draw engine.
Maybe Tivid, some control decks run this card. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Tivid, just any deck that's making a lot of mana that you can just flash this in.
Yeah.
So I think that that's a great option.
Okay.
Let's
keep us moving. So again, honorable mention, too soon to tell for this one.
Yep.
Next one, we have Black Market Connections. I think if you're playing Mardu and you have no better cards or better things to be doing as a black deck, you're really scratching for cards you can play in your deck.
Yes.
And I think this probably falls into that. This is like Phyrexian Arena, but it's better than Phyrexian Arena because it either has low modes, it makes you mana, which is really good in CDH, as Joseph and I have spoken about. Making mana or additional mana is really hard to come by. So Black Market Connection reads, it's a 2 generic, 1 black enchantment, which says at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, choose one or more. You can either make a token, you lose a life, draw a card, you lose 2 life, and then make a 3/2 dude, and you pay 3 life. So 6 life, you can make a token, treasure token, draw a card, and make a 3/2 dude. So not bad for 6 life. You can do better, as we'll find out. But it's an okay card for Mardu decks.
Yeah, it's okay. I don't think I ever see people pay the 3 life unless there's like a significant reason, demonic console or diabolic intent or
a sacrifice, right?
Culling the Weak, those types of things. Usually you're not creating the changeling. But yeah, I mean, if you're mono black or you're Mardu, like you said, there's not a lot of options for draw engines. So I think for 3 mana, this is okay.
Yeah.
If you need to slot it in your deck, it makes sense.
Skip us moving to another honorable mention. Bob, Dark Confident, the boy. 2/1, dice Orcish Bowmaster, but still a 2/1 that at least gets you a card, potentially can give you an extra card in your upkeep, which is not bad. It happens every turn. It's reliable. It's really easy to kill off. It is a creature, so hard to interact with unless it's a kill spell or an Orcish Bowmaster. Doesn't draw the card itself, so Orcish Bowmaster doesn't kill it. I think it's put into your hand.
Yes.
So Dark Confident reads, it's a 1 and a black creature, human wizard. At the beginning of your upkeep, reveal the top card of your library and put the card into your hand. You lose life equal to its mana value. So used to be played in Modern. You don't see this much in CDH, again, because you can probably do better as we'll get to the real cards. But if you're a mono black deck, if you're a white black deck or a red black deck, and you don't really have that many choices, you probably are considering Dark Confident as a card engine, draw engine.
Yeah, I think it's just risky because usually black uses their life total heavily.
Yeah.
And so revealing the top card and losing life every single turn sometimes is not adhesive to the plan.
Nope, it's unideal. Okay, and I think this is the last honorable mention. I think there's another one after this. It is Notion Thief. I see this card played by one of our locals. Nolan likes to play Notion Thief. It's a 3/1 human rogue, 4 mana, 2 generic, 1 blue and 1 black. With flash, and it reads, if an opponent would draw a card except the first card they draw in each of their turns, instead that player skips that draw, and you draw a card. So essentially you're stealing a card draw.
Yeah. This card is fine. Every time Nolan plays it against me, I just get cooked with it. I put it in my deck for a while after I got cooked to this card like a year ago because I was like, Notion Thief is the hottest stuff ever. Like, we got to run this. And then mine just seems to die every time I put it in play. I don't know how, but it's just always immediately there's removal or a kill spell for it. The important thing to remember with this card is that Rhystic, Remora, those types of cards are May abilities.
Mm-hmm.
And so people can choose to just not draw and then the Notion Thief doesn't trigger.
Mm-hmm.
So it almost becomes like a Narset where you're just keeping people off of being able to draw cards and it doesn't really turn into a draw engine all the time. So
yeah, I agree. I think it's very easy to play around this card. I think
Mhm.
the fact that it's a blue card can be pitched to force, which is good. Flash makes it better, but the 3/1 is a killer and the 4 mana
it
is also
dies
a
to
killer.
a sneeze.
Yeah. You look at it, it just dies. Horrible attacker.
Yep.
So those are all our honorable mentions. We're going to jump into our actual top 10. Jonah and I differ a little bit in our top 10. I think actually towards the upper echelon of the list, we actually disagree somewhat.
A little bit.
Towards the top tier, we are more or less on the same page. So we'll jump into it. Are you excited, Jonah?
I'm excited.
Ready. Number 10.
Number 10.
Oh, never mind. That was a Sylvan Library.
Honorable mention number 6. Yeah, you can tell how well we planned this because we wrote down the top 10 so we wouldn't forget those. We didn't write any of the other ones down. So whoops, we know for next time. This is our first list, okay?
First list. Sylvan Library. I'll read it for folks. It's a 1 on a green enchantment. At the beginning of your draw step, you draw a card, 2 additional cards. Wow. At the beginning of your draw step, you may draw 2 additional cards. If you do, choose 2 cards in your hand drawn this turn. For each of those cards, pay 4 life or put that card on top of your library. So essentially, you can look at the 3 cards and you can pick either 1, 2, or 3. And for any additional one that you pick, you pay 4 life.
Yeah, this Scry 3, pay life if you want to keep all of them.
Good with fetch lands.
Yeah, importantly, you cannot put other cards from your hand on top of the deck, which I've seen people try to do before. So don't make that mistake. But it's fine. The life total catches up very quickly.
It's green, right? Not many ways to draw in green in CDH. So I think it's a good, if you're like mono green or green white or one of those like weaker decks that plays green, like Raul potentially, it could be a viable draw engine for you.
Yep.
Last-
Strongly agree.
Last honorable mention. We make way too many honorable mentions. Italian, the Kindly Lore. This card is a control commander. You see it typically in the 100. You don't see it as much in the 99s. You will see it sometimes in the 99s, but not as much. Typically, it's a standalone commander. It is really good because once it enters the battlefield, Stallion reads the Stallion, the Kindly Lore is a 2 generic blue-black legendary creature, 3/4 flying. A Stallion, the Kindly Lore enters the battlefield. Choose a number between 1 and 10. Whenever an opponent casts a spell with mana value, power, or toughness equal to the chosen number, that player loses 2 life and you draw a card. So, I believe the highest average mana value for Commander and CDH is like 2.
Yep.
And either 2 power, 2 or 2 toughness, or
2 is just the correct choice. Someone did the math once, and from playing against it, it hits everything.
basically. So this just draws you a lot of cards. It's not a maze, so you can get killed by it if you're trying to do Torkoal Decon, which is not as good. But generally, it's an okay commander. We don't see it as often now. It's kind of falling off meta, but now maybe with the slowdown meta, with the fast meta.
The time limit really hurt this deck.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people playing this before the round timer started. And then when the round timers came in, it's really hard to close a game whenever you're trying to keep everyone else from winning. And so a lot of people dropped this deck because they were just drawing round after round, going to time and not being able to close the game out.
Sure.
So
That makes sense. Okay. I think officially we're on a top 10 list.
okay, top 10 again. Doo-doo-doo.
Number 10.
Number
Officially.
10 for real.
That One Ring. I believe this is my number 10.
This is your number 10.
The One Ring is a 4 mana colorless legendary artifact which reads Undestructible. When the One Ring enters the battlefield, if you cast it, you gain protection from everything until your next turn. At the beginning of your next upkeep, you lose 1 life for each burden counter on the One Ring. Then you can tap it, put a burden counter on the One Ring, then draw a card for each burden counter on the One Ring. So the typical play pattern is you play the One Ring for 4 colorless. Usually, hopefully you have a Soul Ring and 2 lands or something like that to place the turn 2, turn 3. You activate it depending on your hand count. You typically activate it once you play it just to see what's going on because you're just drawing an additional card.
Mm-hmm.
And then the following turn, you get to draw 2 cards, and you typically do that on your upkeep to see if you get a tutor.
Yep. Very important to do it in the upkeep if you have top deck tutors that you could draw for turn.
Like a Vampiric Tutor, Rolly Tutor, Enlightened Tutor, Mystical Tutor, etc. Tutor.
Yep, exactly.
And then this card just keeps getting better. So at the first turn, you draw 1 card, then you draw 2 cards, then you draw 3 cards, then you're seeing 4 cards, and then you get to draw a card for turn. So you're always seeing a plus more cards. And hopefully at a point where you're seeing 4 cards in your upkeep or main phase, you should be getting pretty close to win the game. Or
usually this hits 4 or 5, you're probably winning that turn.
Yeah. It is very hard to interact with as well once it's in the battlefield because it's indestructible.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the only downside, it'll kill you if you're not ready for it because you become like people will start attacking you at a point. So that's one of the downsides of it because now you are focused because your life matters quite a bit with the One Ring. It's very easy to cast. So a lot of decks, every deck can run the One Ring. And I think that's why I have it as number 10.
It goes in every deck. I still play it in Kennen because it is colorless. So a lot of the time, you'll just get a lot of colorless mana available to you early, and there's not a lot to do with it all the time. And so having the One Ring in hand for mulligans, where it's just Ancient Tomb, Mana Vault, I can just turn One Ring
That's
off
very
to
strong.
the races. it's pretty strong. And then with Seedborn Muse, it's incredibly strong.
Just win the game.
Yeah, you pretty much just win the game. You are drawing so many cards. It's unbelievable. So you just need to be mindful of life total. A lot of people forget about that. I've also seen as soon as you go to activate, people will respond on top. Whole stack battle happens. Someone gets brain freeze. There's something happens to someone's deck. They're drawing cards, and then they forgot that their One Ring activation to draw 5 or 6 cards was on the stack. So
you're like, oh no.
Yeah, I was like, oh no, you're dead now. So just be mindful of that.
Do you have the One Ring on your list?
The One Ring, yes, it is number 9.
Number 9 on Jonah's list.
Number 9 for me. So you can go ahead and slot that in as number 9.
Okay.
So
I think the next one is your number 10 though.
Yep, my number 10. It's the boy, the Sphinx, the good Sphinx. I'm just kidding, Tivit. Consecrated Sphinx is phenomenal. This card is okay, I need to be careful with my words. It's a game changer, as I was going to say, but it's not literally a game changer on that list. Forgot that that's a thing now. But this card enters the battlefield. There's usually so many draw engines out. You have to draw for turn on top of that. So regardless, you're going to, if this resolves for a full turn cycle, you're drawing 6 cards just off of the draw step that's forced. So this card is unbelievable. It's not even legendary, so you can make as many copies of this thing as you want to. It's unreal. The reason why it's not higher up on my list is because it's 6 mana. Typically, decks that are low resource decks, such as Blue Farm, Rogsai, those types of decks aren't having 6 mana and not just winning the game. So that's why Kennen, some Thrasios decks can run this card and get away with it, but it just can't go in every deck. So as strong as it is, as powerful it is as it can be, it just doesn't go in as many decks. So that's why it's not higher on my list. I do think it is very, very strong. Probably one of the strongest on the list. It's
a lot of mana. It's very narrow,
exactly,
right? Only Kennen can play. Kennen very comfortably can play this card. And he does. Every other deck, if you have a Consecrated Sphinx in Blue Farm, you have to have a really good reason. I actually saw a Blue Farm player run Consecrated Sphinx this past weekend.
It's possible. Your game plan is just different.
Yeah.
Because if you have 6 mana in Kennen, you're either spinning or, it's Kennen stuff. You have 14 mana turn 3 and don't even have enough stuff to do with it. Yeah. And then Blue Farm, 6 mana, you're going to win the game. Usually you're trying to set up that way. So, yeah.
Okay. That's a good one. And Consecrated Sphinx, for those listening to us, is a 4 colorless, 2 blue creature Sphinx. Flying, whenever an opponent draws a card, you may draw 2 cards for 6.
And it's a 4/6. So that's big butt.
And a flyer. Okay. My number 9, which is Archivist of Ogma, is a 0/1 creature halfling cleric. Flash. Whenever an opponent searches their library, you gain a life and draw a card. The gaining a life, not super relevant. Can be important at times. The draw card is really good, especially because it's a 2-drop that's really easy to cast from my perspective. It's just 1 pip and a colorless 2/2. Goes perfectly in any Kennen deck. Any Tymna decks that you're looking to go to combat.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really strong turn 1 play, and people are fetching or tutoring a lot in CEDH. That is one of the things that makes CEDH the format that it is. We're tutoring, we're fetching, we're being hyper efficient with the cards we play, and this card rewards you for your opponents taking game actions. Not as much as Ristic Study, but game actions, like in the sense that they're going to the library to move their game plan along.
Yeah, I would agree. I have never believed in this card that much. That's why it's not on my top 10 list. But you play it very often. It's kind of like a gnat where it's just like, it's not bad enough that you kill it, but it's really annoying that it's there. And so if it stays on the battlefield for a long time, it does gain a ton of value. It's just not something I've ever committed to or believed in.
No, for sure. Okay. So I think we said your number 9 was the One Ring.
It was the One Ring. Yep.
Okay. And Archivist of Ogma is my number 9. Next on the list, we have Wang Chi Tong, the Librarian, X2 blue, legendary creature, bird spirit, flash, flying, vigilance. Oh my goodness. When Washington enters, put X1/1 counters on him, then draw half X cards rounded down. Whenever an opponent searches the library, put a 1/1 counter on Wang Chi Tong and draw a card. So that's a lot of words.
It's a lot. Yeah, it looks like a Yu-Gi-Oh card almost.
It just keeps going, and you're just adding so much text to this card. I think the part that I think we can pretty easily compare it to Archivist of Ogma.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously this is way better than Archivist of Ogma. It's harder to cast because it's 2 blue pip. However, it does have flash, and flying and vigilance.
And vigilance.
So it's also an outlet
Yep.
if you have infinite colorless mana or any infinite mana, and it keeps getting bigger every time their opponent searches the library.
Yeah, that part is what makes this card so strong after it resolves.
I know that we said that the Ugani that was released was too new to be told where it would fall under this list, right? We were still testing it. And I know this card also came out at the same set. However, this card just right away goes in so many decks.
You can conceptually see how this card is going to be strong. Archivist of Ogma, I would have put it on my honorable mentions. This card is just the same thing, but it's like 10 times better. It has flash, flying, vigilance. All of those are important. You can go to combat, leave a blocker up still. The adding +1/+1 counters adds up so fast. So with Archivist of Ogma, where you might be at like 45 life from everyone's searches, instead you're at a 6/6 flyer with vigilance. It's very, very strong.
Oh, it's a clock
And
too.
so
It's a blocker as well.
it's a huge blocker. You can pressure life totals. You can threaten people's commanders and creatures with it. The flash is just, you can hold it up, play it on end step. If you have extra mana, like in Kennen, just pay an extra 4. I draw 2 cards.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so strong. And yeah, I think that this card is just going to become a staple in blue decks because of that. That I think that this is everything we thought Polywog Prodigy was going to be in a card in terms of hype.
Yeah. And we'll see if this card falls off. I don't see it falling off, to be honest, because it goes in so many decks. If your deck has blue, you should have a good reason why you're not playing this card.
Even 2 blue pips, this card does so much work over the course of a couple of turns.
Yeah.
And especially, I think an important thing is Temna as a commander. This card is an immediate attacker that no one's going to be able to block, most likely. I mean,
Flying, it's hard to hit.
Yeah, flying, it's going to become huge. It definitely is going to be something you can guarantee to get hits almost every turn.
And in opposite to a lot of the other draw engines, it doesn't die to Orcish Bowmaster.
Exactly.
Very difficult for it to die to Orcish Bowmaster right away.
Because every ping that it gets, it is adding a counter to itself. So if it's drawing a card, adding a counter, and they're pinging it, it's just getting bigger with the +1/+1 counters.
Yeah. Okay. Good card.
So that was number 8 on my list as well. So we agreed on that one.
Sick. Let's see if we agree on the next one. Fairy Mastermind, the boy.
Number 7.
Number 7.
Number 7 on my list as well. So we agree here.
Perfect. It is 1 colorless and a blue. Creature, fairy rogue, flash flying. Whenever an opponent draws their second card each turn, you draw a card. And then it's colorless and a blue. Each player draws a card. So this card, as we kind of talked about it, flash, really good. Flying, really good. The fact that it's 2 mana, really strong. Blue also makes it stronger. Weak side, it's a 2/1, so it dies to Orcish Bowmaster quite a bit.
Yep.
The thing about this card versus the other ones that we've talked about is the fact that it has an outlet on it. So it's more versatile and more flexible than the other ones we've talked about. Obviously, Wangchiton has an outlet, but you need to have the colorless. You need to cast it as you're playing it. This can be hanging out on the field, and then once you get to the point where you can use it, it has the outlet on play.
Yep, exactly. A lot of times this goes infinite with Smothering Tithe, Kennen, or 2 Smothering Tides, Fairy Mastermind, because you're making enough that you net mana to keep activating, draw everyone out. Usually you need like a Green Sun Zenith or Endurance in order to not deck yourself and keep drawing everyone else out. Downside to that is usually people will scoop to that, but if no one's ever seen it or someone's being really difficult, they will make you play it out. And I will tell you from a game that I lost at Steel City, you will not have enough time to play that out because people will put stuff on the stack. You will have to activate again, even though I had deterministic when they could not respond. Their deck was smaller than mine even, which was important. They were allowed to respond, or the judge thought they were allowed to respond. I couldn't win with it. So usually people will let you shortcut, but on the unfortunate part that they don't, the judge agrees with them, then yeah, you don't have enough time to play that out because they will just keep responding. You activate, they will priority.
The downside is they're drawing cards with you, right?
Exactly. That's they're drawing cards. They'll play them, even though hopefully your Smothering Tithe triggers will resolve eventually and you'll get enough mana. It takes forever. The cool thing about this card, and people need to keep in mind, is that if someone is Thassa's trying to win with their deck empty, you can flash this out, activate if you have enough mana, and draw them out before their trigger resolves. I've seen that happen a lot. So that's why it's very good. But yeah,
The first draw.
it dies to the Bowmaster, and usually that's like the first thing they hit because it's it's a 1/1, so it's like Esper
This and
where
Lotho.
it's just this Lotho, it's just
And
like
Esper, those are the three things that die.
it's just they're gonna ping it off the board even if someone else is not drawing 2 cards every turn. And that's the other thing too, is that someone does have to draw their second card for you to even get anything out of this.
Which does happen in the current meta. So in the current 2025 meta, this triggers all the time.
Yep.
Because there are so many draw engines that are happening. Even in the fast meta, as it's sped up, people are still drawing quite a bit still.
Yep.
So good card nonetheless. Yeah, all the points that Jonah made are correct. And I think this is pretty similar again to the Dugani, the snake that we saw, because it's after the second card. You draw a
Still
card.
a lot less mana, and
Correct.
it has the outlet on it. So
Yeah.
that's why in Kennen and other decks, it's just a little safer to play.
Okay. Moving us to number 5, 6.
Number six.
Number
I think we
6.
agree on this one as well.
Thrasios,
It's your
Triton
boy.
Hero, the boy.
It is the boy.
The boy.
I'm in his way. How dare I sit in front of him?
Yeah, we should get like a little altar for him. Thrasios Triton Hero. It's a green-blue legendary creature, Merfolk Wizard. Has four generic and reads Scry 1. Then reveal the top card of your library. If it's a land card, put it onto your battlefield tapped. Otherwise, draw a card. And then it has the partner mechanic. So the reason this card is a better draw engine, in my opinion, it's because it's part of the command zone.
Mm-hmm.
That just makes it that much stronger than having one of the 99. Obviously, it gets played in summon decks as part of the 99, but the fact that it's in your command zone and it's an outlet itself, and it can, in very grindy games, draw you cards, I think that's what makes it that much stronger than a lot of the other cards we've drawn. Potentially, if you're comparing a card to card, like a Wang Chiton or a Thrasios, it's possible that Wang Chiton is going to draw you more cards in a singular game,
Mm-hmm.
but over like a long period of games, you're going to see Thrasios in more games than you will in Washington.
dependable.
Yeah.
It's going to be there every time. The partner is super important because you can pair it with whatever colors you want. And having that outlet, so many times I will build a deck that doesn't have an infinite outlet available to it when I have infinite mana in the deck. You just sometimes make infinite mana and you can't find a way to go get your outlet. Having it in the command zone, you're just going to guarantee that you, even if they kill it and you make enough colored mana, you can just recast it. So you don't care how many times they kill it. It's always going to be there. And yeah, the Scry 1 reveal,
You get to look at 2 cards.
you have to look at 2 cards.
Puts a land to the battlefield too, which is really strong as well, as we've talked about. If you're able to put lands or permanents from your library into the battlefield, that is a very strong mechanic because you're skipping a step.
100%. This with Seaborn Muse goes crazy too.
This wins the game.
Yeah, it just wins the game because you're just putting lands onto the battlefield. Being a 1/3 is also very relevant.
Does not that
Usually
Orcish Bowmaster as easily.
does not die to Orcish Bowmaster often. Not saying it's not impossible. Not saying it's not possible.
Oh, it's happened. It's happened multiple times. I've seen Thrasios
100%.
wiped on the
Usually it's not gonna just ping off the board like the Fairy Mastermind is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I strongly agree. The enablers for this as well, such as the Biomancer and the Training Grounds, make this way better as well. I know some people choose not to run those because that's not their entire plan. They're only using this as an infinite mana outlet, but you often run those in your TNT deck. And so having the ability to reduce the 4 Scry 1 ability, instead you can pay 2.
Yeah. No, those cards are really strong
It's
with it.
crazy how much difference
Just
that
1 mana
makes.
draw cards, pretty good. I don't run those right now because I'm going through a TNT phase of just like being rebellious. We'll talk more about that in the TNT corner, but no, I agree. I think like there's like Rock Trash is famous for running Biomaster's Family and Training Grounds because it makes this ability cost 1 less.
15, they have 16 mana with a Gaia's Cradle and ways to untap it, and then the activations only cost 2
or
Before
1, even 1.
or 1, and then
Yeah.
before you know it, it's okay. They're just drawing
Yeah, you're just
10
winning the game.
cards and putting 10 lands onto the battlefield. What's happening?
Okay, I think that's our number 4. Now
Yep.
top 5.
That was number 6.
That was number 6. Number 6. You're right.
We're going
to number 5.
Top
Number
5.
5.
Drum roll,
Top
please.
5. I think surprise to nobody. We talked about Thrasios. I think Thrasios goes well with the girl, Temna the Weaver. It is a colorless, 1 white and a black, legendary creature, human cleric, lifelink. At the beginning of your post-combat main phase, you may pay X life, where X is the number of opponents that were dealt combat damage this turn. If you do, draw X cards. Card's good.
Don't forget the partner part.
Partner part. Oh, very important. Very relevant.
Very, very, very
Makes it
important.
that much better.
Yep.
Do you want to tell us why this card is so good, Jonah?
This card is just what makes Blue Farm Blue Farm. Crom could be any other partner that was blue-red. The ability to go to combat, hit opponents, and draw cards dependent. I wouldn't say super dependably, but usually dependably is so strong to just have the commander. It's always available to you. Your draw engine is right up there, able to be a part of your plan. Cast it. You already have creatures out. People don't want to block with their stuff. You go to combat, you draw cards. This is so, so strong. The lifelink, not super relevant. It's great. And the famous, I'll lose or gain 2, lose 2, draw 2. Like, that's cool because you're not losing any life. Yeah, that's what makes this card so strong.
Yeah, just it's very similar to Thrasios in the sense that it's in your command zone. It allows you to build your deck in such a way where you have these colors available to you, right? Blue farms, color identities, everything except green. So it allows you to do the breach lines, Thoracle, the silences effects that blue farm runs, right? For TNT has everything except red. So now you're able to do that plan. So that allows you to like fill the color peeps that you need, and the fact that when you go to combat, which some decks are designed to do, or have creatures that are really good, Fairy Mastermind, Washington, etc.,
Yep.
that can get to combat, it just draws you cards easily.
That's what makes those cards better.
Yeah.
That's why Washington is so much better in plays, because Blue Farm can just run it, and it's going to have a synergy with Temna.
I think we might make a top 10 commander list, but I imagine Temna is probably somewhere in the top 5.
I think it'd be in like the top 2. Yeah, strongly agree. If you have not seen Temna yet, I think maybe this video might be too advanced. Go look up some Temna gameplay videos, just any Temna deck, and you'll see Temna Dargo, Temna Thrasios, Temna Crom. There are other partners that don't go well with Temna, but most of the top decks usually have Temna or Thrasios as a partner. And I just think that there's a lot of blue commanders that you can run. There's not a lot of white, black commanders that are partner that you can also run.
Yep,
that give you the same value.
Agreed. So we notice how we talked about a lot of really strong cards. Then we talked about the 2 commander specific cards as number 5 and 6. Now we're going back to cards in the 99, because those cards, in our opinion, are much stronger than the commander pairs that we just talked about.
Much stronger. There are weaknesses. Temna, for example, you go to combat, you draw 3 cards. There's a Bowmaster. Temna's going to die.
Yeah.
Yep. Stuff like that. So these are things that have more value, or
on average,
than or less expensive. So yeah, let's get into them.
Number 4, Necropotence.
I'm on number 4 with you on this as well.
Black enchantment. Skip your draw step. Whenever you discard a card, exile that card from your graveyard. Put 1 life. Exile the top card of your library face down, and put that card on your hand at the beginning of your next end step. As a blue farm player, can you tell us kind of how this card gets played? Where the play pattern?
I just want to argue with the comments before they can even comment on there. So don't type yet. I can hear your fingers going already. Technically, this is not drawing cards. I agree with you. They're putting them into your hand. We are counting this as a draw engine because they are being put directly into your hand. It is as if you're drawing these cards.
If anything's better than because Orcish Bowmaster doesn't ping you.
Yes.
Checkmate.
So, checkmate. You do get to skip your draw step. Sorry about that. I know we don't have to get into that. This card is so strong because you get to negotiate the game usually when this resolves. I've seen this so many times where the Necropotence resolves. You just had 3 black mana. You're trying to set up for the next turn. You can play the good guy. I'm just going to refill my hand, pay 4 life, just put 4 cards into my hand. I'm not the scary guy yet. And then you're really setting up to go to the next turn, pay your 30, 35 life, whatever you're at comfortably, to try to find the Valley Flood Caller, the Born Upon a Wind, those flash enablers, the high fae, if you have
Final Fortune, for following turn even.
Those types of cards, so that you really have synergy with being able to draw 35 cards, put a win together. And the interesting part that trips up a lot of people is whenever you discard a card, exile that card from your graveyard. You do need to be very careful of that. Importantly, those are triggers you can respond to. So you can respond to the card being exiled from your graveyard. So if you have
a commander
Born Upon a Wind, even so you have a trigger to discard those cards. If you've been silenced, for example.
I think let's talk about that as an area because that's one that newer players aren't really familiar with, right?
Yep.
So if you get silenced in a turn, typically you're silenced up into your cleanup step.
Cleanup. And then at that point, no one has priority anyways. So the way that this usually looks, and as a necro enjoyer, thanks to Evan and Jason Doan for giving me much advice on this card. You can, if you pay a bunch of life and someone knows that you're going to try to win the game, they will usually silence you. I've done this to Austin before and he played it out perfectly. I just happened to still get him on this. But whenever you go to your discard, whenever you clean up, you still have to discard down to 7 cards. And then the trigger to exile those cards from your graveyard will go onto the stack. At that point, you have priority again.
Mhm.
Silence is worn off because your cleanup step has essentially taken effect. Then you can Born Upon a Wind and respond to those triggers. So hopefully you never let those triggers resolve. The cards are still in your graveyard. You can breach. You can do whatever you need to do to win. But definitely be mindful because I have seen where people discard cards and forget that they have to exile those cards. And so they'll just pitch a breach because they have Savines and they're going to go to the next turn and that breach is gone forever. So there's nothing you can do. So be mindful of that. But yeah, I think that the correct way to play this card is usually pay some life unless you just have enough mana to just pop off. Pay some life. Don't be the threat yet. Set up a good hand. So I think the correct, I've heard things, but depending on how many cards are in your hand, try to go to 11 cards.
Mm-hmm.
So look at 11 cards, discard the ones that you don't need, move to your next turn. And then if you still have enough, go for it. If not, usually at that point, you want to start being aware of what you're needing and why that's not working for you. But usually it's 11 and then the next turn you just pop off.
That's, typically play patterns that. So yeah, card is good. I think it's better than a lot of the cards we've talked about, obviously. And we both had it as number 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Awesome. Well, let's move to the non-controversial ones. If you stick with us, you probably know the 3 cards that are coming up because they're very CDH
Yeah, I think we
staples.
differ just a little bit on 2 and 3, but yeah, it's not going to be hard.
We'll probably talk about them because honestly, they can go back and forth. It really depends on what you play them in the game. So I have Mystic Remorse number 3. I think Jonah jumped ahead and told us that he essentially has Esper Sentinel as number 3.
Yep.
So we have both of them essentially. You can play them either way. We'll talk about
2 and 3 opposites for
Yeah.
each of us. Remor is 2 for me and Esper's 3. So we'll just kind of hit both of them.
Yeah, we'll talk about Remora first. So it's Mystic Remora's 1 blue enchantment, cumulative upkeep 1. At the beginning of your upkeep, put an H counter on this permanent, then sacrifice it unless you paid upkeep cost for each H counter on it. And then it reads, whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, you may draw a card unless that player pays 4. So pretty good card. If an opponent is developing there with mana rocks, rituals, doing anything that's not a non-creature, you're essentially going to be drawing a card because there is no way anybody's going to be able to pay for any time in the game.
No, 4 is way too much. Usually, unless someone has infinite mana already and is usually winning the game, no one's paying 4 mana.
There's 0 chance. This card is so strong in late games counter wars because that's when mana is the most important part. And you can just assume your opponent has everything in their deck, in their hand. So this is why I put it after Esper, because I think late game Mystic Remorse is much stronger than Esper. But I think Esper, can help you develop your board more in the earlier game than Mystic Remora. Because Mystic Remora will always take mana away from you. And in decks that don't develop their mana as fast, out of other decks, it prevents you from doing anything except playing land go. Let's hear
Strongly agree.
Oh,
Kennen, however, Kennen boy here.
Jonah's like a Kennen player.
Yeah, Kennen boy here. Being able to have a ton of mana. Usually, sometimes I will, if it makes sense to play Kennen first, and then the next turn have the ability to cast rocks and play Mystic Remora, so I can keep Mystic Remora around for the rest of the game. But usually, you're just making so much mana that you just put the fish down. It goes around. No one wants to pay 4 mana, but they want to progress their game state. So turn 1 comes around. You just pay 1 more for your fish again. Goes around. Hopefully you played a land. You just keep drawing cards, progressing your game state. Sometimes it'll slow you down, but if you have enough counter spells in your deck, you can usually tempo the game so that you're not completely blown out. At the point that your fish can die or you have a way to bounce it or something like that, whenever it starts costing like 5 or 6 to keep it. I've paid 8 for a fish before.
It's pretty good.
It's really good. And that was in blue form. So
That's impressive too.
this card is very, very strong. It has good synergies with high resource games such as Smothering Tithe being out, those sorts of things. I think this card is good both early game and late game.
Yeah, 100%.
So
Agreed.
the way that this card is not good is usually because you're taxed on mana. So you've mulled to 3, you have 1 land, you play this, and you're against 3 creature decks. And so you just get unlucky and it stays around for 2 turns and you don't get another land. This thing dies and then
GG boy.
yeah, you're sitting there with not much going on. I'm not saying there's a better mold of 3, but I'm just saying that that's usually where this card doesn't do well. The other thing that people love to say is Fish Pact. Mystic Grimoire is a fish, if you didn't know. So people will go Fish Pact so no one cast any non-creature spells so that you don't draw any cards.
Mm-hmm.
And usually that's whenever they can tell that you're heavily, low on cards. You might not have land drops, those sorts of things. And so that usually just benefits the players that have creatures to cast. I've done that plenty of times as a Kennen player where I'm like, everybody Fish Pact sounds good. And then I just cast all my dorks for a couple turns and everybody else is staring at me like, why did I agree to do this?
The worst part is when somebody says fish pack and they play an Esper.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, because it's just, they don't care. It's just eventually there's going to get fed and everyone else is not doing anything.
Exactly.
So this card is very, very strong. I think the important thing to remember is it's a May. So if for some reason you do have Thassa's Oracle, those types of things, you're not going to get killed to this card. So you can still go through your Demonic Consultation line with your Thassa's Oracle and win the game without worrying about being a force draw on top of it.
Correct.
So yeah, I think that this card is very, very strong.
And let's talk about Esper and kind of compare it to Fish. So Esper Sentinel, which is my number 2, Jonah's number 3, is a white artifact creature human soldier. Whenever an opponent casts their first non-creature spell each turn, draw a card unless that player pays X, where X is Esper Sentinel's power, and it is a 1/1. So typically it stays as a 1/1, doesn't get bigger. Sometimes it can get bigger, it gets bolster or whatever with an exhaust trigger for a turn or whatever.
Pretty rare.
Yeah. So typically a 1/1. The reason this card is strong, in my opinion, is stronger than Mystic Remora, it's because it doesn't prevent you from developing your game plan in most decks. And it also goes, it's also a potential attacker for Team the decks, which is sometimes you want that because not everybody's going to have a blocker right away. So it can serve double duty. The weaker side is that it's a X1 creature, so it will die to Orcish Bowmaster.
Yep.
It's also only happens once per turn, and that is the biggest downside of it.
Usually that's why people are letting you draw a card, is it's just you're going to draw one, so they'll pay for the Ristic that might draw more, and so they'll let you draw your one. But yeah, the reason why it's number 3 on mine is just it's kind of like Fairy Mastermind, where it just immediately dies to the Orcish Bowmaster, and this is usually, it's a force draw, so people will often just not pay if there's a Bowmaster out, and then force you to draw, and then your Bowmaster just gets, the Bowmaster will just ping the Esper Sentinel off the board. So that's why it's not as strong for me. I think that it is very powerful in a sense that you can, like you said, progress your board state in decks where you don't have a ton of mana and you are playing the low resource games. That's very, very strong. It just sometimes later in the game, it doesn't do as much because everybody has so much mana that, you just pay one, like, I have 15 mana, I'll just pay the one, I don't care. And then it doesn't trigger again. This is very strong in counter wars usually, where everybody's already had a turn, they're fighting over stuff on someone else's turn, and then they want you to help, so they'll cast a spell, you'll draw a card off of their spell, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think it's very good early game and not as good late game.
I agree. I think if I were to top deck an Esper Sentinel versus top deck a Mystic Remora late game, I'd be happy to see a Mystic Remora. But as I guess that this is a TNT player, if I see a hand with an Esper Sentinel that I can play pretty easily, I will probably do that more often than I would with the Mystic Remora. Obviously, I would play it's really dependent on seed order and pod composition, which one I would play first. I think most of the time I probably play Esper just because I can, for TNT, it struggles with mana, as I've kind of mentioned. So like not being able to develop mana dorks or do anything for a long time is not as good. And I think maybe having a turn 2 fish it's not a bad idea either, if I had a turn 1 Esper.
Agreed. If Ristic does happen to get banned, I think that the argument between Esper Sentinel and Mystic Remora, I've already heard happening of being the strongest draw engine in
Most decks.
in most decks. I don't think that it really matters. It just depends on what your game plan is.
Yeah.
Because I think that Jason believes that it's the strongest card in Blue Farm early whenever,
Esper Sentinel?
yeah, outside of spoiler alert, our number one. But I would think that usually Fish is, but that's just because I'm gambling that I'm going to draw a bunch of mana. And
Sure.
so it just depends. It's apples to
I
oranges.
think regional people can probably disagree, and it's honestly we're like disagreeing on like a 99-98% kind of
Yeah,
thing.
the cards going in, if your deck is white or blue, both of these cards are going into them.
Agreed.
So and I'm not going to mulligan an Esper Sentinel hand for a Fish or a Fish hand for an Esper Sentinel. Like, you see this in your starting 7 and you're like, oh, keep.
Either or. I think the hardest part is like, okay, which one do I play first? And then again, that becomes like seed order, decks you're playing against, etc., etc., etc.
Correct. You do need to make sure with the game plan of non-creature spells, you're advising the table. If you're sitting against a Sovala and maybe Rog Thras, a lot of the creature heavy decks where you're not going. I did have a game on Saturday in our charity tournament where I played a Fish turn 1, seat 1, and I drew like 2 cards because everyone was just playing creatures. It was like dork, Esper Sentinel. No one was casting any non-creatures, and it wasn't even on purpose. And so those are the games where sometimes these cards don't do as much as you think they do, and you should definitely be mindful when you sit down.
All right, and number one,
surprise
to nobody.
Yeah, to absolutely no one.
Rhystic Study.
I'll
just read it real quick. It's 2 colors and a blue enchantment. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, you may draw a card unless that player pays the 1. You want to pay 1? You're going to draw 1?
Absolutely not. I would like to play the game. So you can draw your cards.
Yeah. I think there isn't much to talk about this card. I've been on the bandwagon for this card for a long time. It's the best draw engine, period. It just stays there and you don't get punished. If you're a blue farm deck and you're drawing cards, the green deck across from you is getting their board wiped out by an Orcish Bowmaster.
Yep. It's very, very easy to play this and just run away with the game because there's no cumulative upkeep. You don't have to pay for it like Fish. So you might draw more cards off of a Fish in a turn rotation, but that tax is very important because it taxes you from being able to do other things unless you're playing Kenny, you just have a ton of mana. Woo, shout out that. But Rhystic Study resolves, blue farm, any other deck. It sits on the board. You're just gaining value forever. You want to get this down as fast as possible because it is going to be parasitic throughout the entirety of the game to usually no disadvantage to you unless you're getting your stuff pinged off the board with Orcish Bowmaster, but usually you don't care because you're just drawing so many cards, you're putting a win together elsewhere. So
yeah, there's so much to say about this card. We've been talking about this card for this past year. It is just the best draw engine. It is just a really strong card. Like Jonah said, there's just the floor for this card is like not. It's like you tap out turn 2 to play it and you lose turn 3.
My first coaching session with my roommate who just started doing Blue Farm was like, find this card.
Yeah.
If you can find this card and get it out, you will probably win the game. And he has stumbled into a couple wins on Blue Farm by just playing a turn 1 or turn 2 Rhystic Study and then drawing enough cards and leaning over and being like, hey, I think I can win the game with these cards now. And I'm like, yeah, it's crazy, right? Like you just, wow, crazy. So.
Right. I think that does it for us for our list. Let us know in the comment section down below what you think about our list. If you agree, disagree, or where we could be wrong.
No one's going to disagree with us on the top card.
I feel like the top 3 cards are very safe.
No.
I'm interested to see the top 4 through 10.
4 through 10. I am curious too. I'm also curious about our honorable mentions and our cope cards of who agrees or disagrees with us. And also let us know if we forgot anything. These are cards that are very heavily played in our local metas and cards that I've seen at, the bigger national tournaments, but let us know because there's always a
random card somewhere
that people know about. So let us know. Also, let me know what your favorite Rhystic Study art is. There is so many different arts for Rhystic Study and they're all expensive. So my favorite is definitely the Judge promo. However, it's only in foil, so I don't do foils. So I did have to sell mine and trade it out for the whatever the Fish one is that you scrolled over earlier. the mermaid.
The mermaid.
Yeah,
I actually had the mermaid
Wilds
one.
of Eldraine mermaid.
I sold that one because I think this card's gonna get banned. I sold my fancy version before it dropped in price.
Yeah, there's so many expensive printings of this card because it's so powerful. Oh, there we go.
That one. That's what I had.
Yeah, the fancy
This
one.
is disgusting.
Yeah, I wasn't a Final Fantasy fan, but yeah, let us know what your favorite art is. If you don't disagree with us on this list, because I am curious what people prefer. Because I usually just see all varieties of these, and I'm very partial to the Judge From, and I get excited when people play it.
Okay. Real quick, we have a tradition here, Joseph and I, where we talk about the Thrasios Corner. So we're going to induct Jonah into the Thrasios Corner.
I've
Welcome.
done the Thrasios Corner with Joseph before. Whenever I was filling in for you.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, you're inducted. Real quick, I'll go first. TNT, I got my butt kicked this past weekend at a charity tournament that we went to. I've never done so bad at a tournament before. I told John, I was like, if I lose this tournament, I'm probably gonna retire. And I guess I'm retiring because I went 0-3.
No, I won't let him.
And I think this is a good reminder for folks. If you go to tournaments and you like scrub out, it happens to everybody. It's okay if you scrub out a tournament. Just sometimes you just will not get the cards. It is random for a reason, even if you have tutors or whatever.
100%. The best. It's crazy to me that the best players that I know will scrub out of a tournament. Evan, Kevin, Simmons, these other just really, really good players that usually top every tournament, they'll scrub out of a tournament, which isn't common, but for them, it's like absolutely nothing. Like, cool, let's go do something else. Let's go get dinner. And I'm just like, if I scrub out of a tournament, I'm like distraught
Oh, you
and
should see
heartbroken.
me, bro.
And yeah, Raul was going through it. And it was just like, I think you just need to remember that it happens to the absolute best of us. And as long as you're learning something from that,
No.
which you're making changes to your deck list because of it, which I think is smart. You didn't feel like your deck was ready for the meta. And so I think that that's very smart. And as long as you're learning from it, scrum out as many tournaments as you want, because that's how you get better, right?
Exactly. You only learn by failing. So one of the only changes I'm making right away is I talked to Joseph about cutting Seaworm Muse from TNT, which I know we talked a lot about Seaworm Muse in this podcast, but I'm actually cutting it from TNT because it sits in my hand, and when I cast it, I'm the threat, and I don't like being the threat of TNT. So the thing that TNT struggles with is mana, so I'm adding more mana sources, and this might be cope, but I'm adding Cryptolith Rite because I have 20-something creatures. I have 26 creatures, and a lot of them do mana, and I have Kingdom Bonder Prodigy, and I have Enduring Vitality effects. So if I think Enduring Vitality is good, then the same logic should apply that I think Cryptolith Rite is good in my deck.
I strongly agree. Cryptolith Rite is like right on the edge for me, even in Kennen, because of the Enduring Vitality being so good. And I didn't play Casual Commander for long, but I did see this card a lot in Casual Commander. It was usually one of those cards that started an argument of, oh my gosh, your deck is too strong. And I think that is very important because it's only 2 mana. And so you just put it on the board. Your Esper Sentinel immediately, if it's been out, already starts tapping for mana.
Thrasios does mana things now. Timna does mana things. Once the board gets cloned up, everything, it just becomes mana. And that's, again, like the thing that TNT struggles with is just the lack of mana.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to fix that with this. We'll see if I play test and it does dog water, if it's good. So currently that's the only change. I might add the 1 ring into the deck just because I feel like I need just drawing cards. I'm playing literally a lot of the top 10 cards in this list are in my deck. Cabbageman has been great so far, and it'll continue to do great, I imagine, because it's just a really strong card. So that's TNT for me. Now Jonah has his own Thrasios deck he wants to talk about.
Yeah, this is actually not the right list. I just realized.
Oh no.
No, this is not the right list. This is me trying to cook up Semi Blue, which I had not had a chance to do yet. But I did Thras Vial. I think if you scroll down, it's going to be, are these sorted by like my most recent? It must not be public.
Jonah.
Oh no. I tried to build Thras Vial, which Vial Smasher is irrelevant. It just is there for the color pips. It's the only commander, I believe, that are in those colors. I wanted to try Austin from Critical was on a heavy like Adnaz Necro type TNT deck.
Sure.
And so he had a lot of success on that. And I was kind of thinking, because this was the first deck that I started playing, was Curious Control before Dockside got banned.
Oh, sure.
This was my baby. And so I was like, I need to recook this deck. I need to bring it back to life because no one's really playing it anymore. And so I tried to build it as like a proactive, quicker deck where it had
Like a
Necro,
nice
Nas,
tempo-ish.
yeah, Calling the Weak, that kind of stuff. And I also put green stuff in there, and so it just didn't, my mana dork sitting out didn't really like go collectively with my go fast plan. And so yeah, that was a huge flop. That was like maybe 3 weeks ago. I went to locals and just completely scrubbed out. I don't think I won a game. It was that was rough. But yeah, I think that I do want to keep trying to cook on this deck. That's why I made the semi blue correctly as a joke, because everybody's playing semi blue and I don't think anyone's playing it correctly yet. And so I think that there is a way that this can live in the meta. I just haven't figured it out yet. So if anybody knows or has a good deck list that they've been trying, please join our Discord, send it to me immediately. I will start play testing it. We have had a couple people send me decks that I've not essentially agreed with their list yet and trying it, but I think something is here. We have the quicker colors. The only color we're missing is white, and so TNT is just this, but with white instead of red. And I think that
You have Underworld Breach
Underworld
here,
Breach
Brain
here,
Freeze LED. So it's
Brain
easier,
Freeze
safer, but you
LED.
don't have silence effects.
You have Gamble, you have Jessica as well. You
Yeah.
just have a lot of, red is not the worst color in the world. And so I think that there is the ability to go fast and win the game.
Okay. We'll grab that list from you when Joseph and I do our next podcast. We could talk about it and
Oh
judge
no,
you.
you could roast me. We do have a podcast coming out soon with me and Sam Black on deck building.
So you're just talking about this deck list?
We did not talk about this deck list. We cooked the Cabbage Merchant.
Okay.
So I'm excited to release that. That's the first podcast that I will have edited and done. So please be patient with me. I said I think about 1,500 times because I was nervous. So that'll be being released in the next couple of weeks. So I'm really excited to share that. And hopefully I took some stuff away from that coaching session with Sam Black, where maybe my next iteration of this list will be better.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing it as well. But I think that's all for us today. Thanks everybody for watching. Don't forget to leave a like, a sub, or a comment. Let us know what you guys think about this podcast. Any cards we missed, any cards we should add, anything at all. But with that, we'll see you next time. And we'll catch you this weekend if you're going to Frenzy the Falls. Otherwise, we'll see you in the stream. Or we'll catch you next time.
Bye, everyone.
See ya.